Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the third episode in the Gratitude with Grace series. In case you aren't familiar, this is just a weekly yoga series that I post every single Sunday in order to raise money for the Buckeye-thon, which helps support families that are experiencing pediatric cancer at the Nationwide Children's Hospital. So, as always, this practice is 100% donation-based. I will put the links to donate to this wonderful cause in the description below. So thank you for practicing with me. And if you are able to donate, I know that these families appreciate it so much. So let's get started. We're going to get started seated on our mat today in Sukhasana, or easy seated position. You may want to have a blanket or a pillow handy for when we do pigeon towards the end of our practice, but for now that can just be put to the side. So here, at the beginning of our practice, we meet in Sukhasana, sitting as if we're being pulled through a string upwards through the crown of the head. We want to stay lengthened here and avoid that slouch that a lot of us have in our daily lives. So we're finding this lengthening and this space through the spine. You can rest your hands on your knees, or you can even bring your hands to your heart center. And we'll begin to close our eyes if you're in a space where that feels comfortable for you today. We're going to take a few moments to ground, bringing our awareness in, helping us to not worry about things that have already happened today or things that will happen today or tomorrow. Just focusing and observing the present moment. Focus your awareness on your breath. Just observing what it feels like to breathe in your body today. Is you breathing shallow? Is you breathing deep? Or is it somewhere in between? This isn't something that needs to be changed right now. We're just trying to get a sense of observation. I want to also invite you to find any other sensations in the body that may be present with you today. For example, maybe you feel tingling in your arms, or vibrations in your toes. It could even be a feeling of slight uncomfort, like maybe some tightness that might be in the hips here. I want you to breathe into all of these places that you're observing here today, taking a big inhale and exhale, feeling deeper into these areas that you've set your awareness on. One more time, inhale and exhale. Whether these sensations that you're feeling today are good, maybe they're a little bit negative, they're simply signs of being alive. Let's send our breath gratitude for allowing us to be here today, for giving us the oxygen that we need to carry out our daily activities, and all of these other sensations, like the vibrations or the tightness maybe, for reminding us what it feels like to live in our earthly bodies. You can begin to flutter the eyes open if you haven't already, and we'll get started with our movement practice. Inhale, begin to reach your arms up and overhead, reaching up towards the ceiling or the sky if you're outside. Exhale, hands come through heart center, Anjane Mudra. Inhale again, the arms reach up and overhead, lifting you up, creating space. Exhale, hands come through heart center. You can begin to send your legs out long, and we'll be coming into a spinal twist. So keeping the left leg straight, you can bend through the right knee, crossing the right leg over the left. Inhale upwards to lengthen through your spine. And on the exhale, begin to turn towards the right side of your room or the mat. That left arm can wrap around the right knee to help give you a sense of deeper twisting. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, twist a little bit further if that feels okay in your spine today. One more time, inhale to lengthen. Exhale, twisting a bit further as long as there's no pain. We want good sensations here. Inhale, gently unravel back towards the front of your mat or the room and begin to bend through your left knee as we come into seated figure 4 pose. Keeping that same lengthening through the spine. If you want to decrease the stretch here, you're welcome to straighten through that left leg as much as you want. But to increase the stretch, you can slowly and gently walk your torso further towards your knees, or you could even gently press your right knee away from your torso. This is a very gentle motion and is by no means a big movement at all. Feeling the sensations in your hips and legs. And we'll begin to straighten through the right leg. You can cross the left leg over the right, coming into our spinal twist on the opposite side this time. Inhale to lengthen upwards towards the ceiling. Exhale, begin to twist towards the left. Again, that right arm can wrap around that left knee, and the left hand can be on the ground behind you for a bit of added support. Inhale to lengthen upwards. Exhale, twisting further if you're able. One last time, inhale to lengthen up. Exhale to twist. Inhale to unravel back towards a neutral spine. Begin to bend through the right knee, coming into our seated figure 4 on the opposite side. Again, you're welcome to lengthen through that right leg to decrease the stretch here if it's a bit tight in your hips. But if you're looking for something a bit deeper today, you're welcome to gently walk your torso just slightly more towards the knees. Or you could even gently press that left knee away from the body, away from the chest. Remember to breathe. And like we were at the beginning of the practice, just observing any sensations that you feel have arose in your body. Maybe you weren't here when we first started. For me, I'm feeling a little bit of engagement and heat being built in my right quad. We can meet back in Sukhasana, our easy seated position with the legs just crossed over one another. And you can begin to roll over the shins to meet in table. In tabletop pose, the wrists will be underneath the shoulders and the knees will be underneath the hips. From our table, inhale to drop the belly, lift the chest and the gaze. Exhale, draw the navel in, curve the spine out. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest. Exhale for cat. One more time for each. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, drawing that navel in for cat. Inhale to a neutral spine. You can tuck the toes under and send the hips up and back into downward facing dog. If you're like me, this might be the first downward facing dog of your day. You're welcome to create movement by walking through your dog, sending one heel down to the mat at a time, creating some heat to warm up the muscles in the back of each of your legs. Remember to breathe And again, just noticing any new sensations that might be here present with you today. A few more breaths into our down dog. Bend through the knees and gently and slowly walk the feet to meet the hands in a forward fold. Inhale to lift halfway, hands come to the shins, lengthening through the spine. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, the arms come to your sides for Tadasana or mountain pose. Inhale, reach the arms back up overhead, feeling your spine lift upwards. Exhale, folding forward. When you can no longer hinge at the waist, you're welcome to bend through the knees. Inhale, lengthening halfway. Exhale, planting the palms on the floor, stepping back into a high plank. Inhale in your plank. Exhale, lower down only halfway for Chaturanga. Inhale, the tops of the feet come onto the floor. Legs stay off of the floor as you lift into upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes under. Send the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come into three-legged dog, sweeping that right leg back behind you. You can bend through the right knee and open up through the right hip, feeling a stretch in both the right and the left hip here. You want to make sure that you're keeping equal weight in both of the hands here, staying strong in our foundation. Inhale, sweep the right foot to come in between the hands. Exhale, bring the back foot to come parallel to the back edge of your mat. And inhale, we cartwheel our arms open to the side for Virabhadrasana 2 or Warrior 2. The arms can be in a T and the front knee has a generous bend to it. Feeling into our pose, the gaze can be softly over the front fingertips. On an inhale, you can begin to flip your palm and reach your right hand up and back, coming into reverse warrior. I even like to wrap my left arm around my back to reach towards my right thigh. Trying to keep an open chest and feeling the lengthening here in both sides of the torso. Exhale, coming into extended side angle, the right forearm comes to the right thigh, and the left arm comes in this diagonal position right by the left ear. Using the right forearm, begin to press into that right leg, opening up your chest and your torso out towards the side and the ceiling, creating an openness through the chest. Inhale, we're coming back up into our reverse warrior, staying bent through the front knee. And exhale, we come back into extended side angle. We're going to be doing a few flows back and forth. Inhaling for reverse warrior. Exhaling for extended side angle. By this time, you might be feeling heat in the right thigh. Inhale to reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. And one more for each. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, meet in between the two, coming into warrior 2. Cartwheel the hands down to frame that front foot, maybe relieving a little bit of pressure from that right quad. I know mine was really burning a bit there. Stepping the right foot back to meet the left in a high plank. We're going to stay on the balls of our feet and begin to shift your heels over to the right side of the mat. Inhale to bring the heels back through center, and exhale, the heels come to the left. So inhaling back through center, exhale to the right, inhale center, exhale to the left. A few more on your own pace. Remembering to inhale through center and exhale through the sides. Staying strong through the abs. Creating a bit of heat here in the shoulders and in the abdominal area. Inhale back through center. On the exhale, we're going to lower halfway for chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, hips come up and back, downward facing dog. Maybe you slow down your breath a bit here. Observing the shift in your body since the beginning of our practice. For me, I know my breath has really picked up, and I can feel my blood pumping throughout my whole body. Inhale, sweep the left leg up and back for a three-legged dog. You can bend through the left knee and open up the hips to the side. Again, you want to make sure that you're having equal weight through both of the hands and you're feeling an openness through the hips. On the inhale, begin to bring your left foot to plant down in between the hands. Exhale, the right foot comes parallel to the back edge of the mat. On an inhale, you open up to the side, warrior two. Inhale to reverse warrior, the left arm reaches up and back. Feeling openness through both sides, torso. Exhale, the left forearm comes to the left thigh, and the right arm creates this energetic diagonal line coming all the way up through the right side body. Extended side angle pose. Using your left forearm, you can help to press and push that chest to turn more towards the ceiling, feeling a greater sense of openness here. Inhale, coming back through our reverse warrior, and going through that same flow. On the exhale, we're coming back into extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Maybe you smile a little bit. Exhale, extended side angle. Feeling some burning through the thigh. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. One more each time. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, back up one more time for warrior two. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot. Step the left foot back to meet the right. Inhaling here, we're going to exhale, lower down halfway for chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale as we come to downward facing dog. Again, we take this time in our downward facing dog to catch up with our breath, maybe showing our breath gratitude for keeping us alive and for allowing us to do these challenging things. Bending through the knees, you can step or hop the feet to meet the hands in a forward fold at the front of the mat. Inhale, lift halfway, hands come to shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, the hands come through heart center and Anjane Mudra. We're going to transition into tree pose. Begin to transition your weight into your left foot. You can keep the right foot kickstanded on the ground for support, or you could bring the right foot on the inside of the calf, or even on the inside of the thigh. However, you don't want to put the foot on the inside of the knee. Obviously, we don't want the knee to bend that way. So to avoid that, try to either keep it on the floor, calf, or thigh. Your hands can stay at heart center, or you can allow your tree branches to grow in any direction that might support your practice today. Getting a little bit creative with whatever you do. Hands come back through to heart center. Inhale to bring the right knee to face the front of the room. And sweep the right leg back behind you as we come into warrior three. And warrior three, the back foot is off the floor. It doesn't have to be off the floor any certain amount. It could be just barely off of the floor. Just staying in a pose that keeps you feeling supported and stable. Bending through the left knee, you can step the right foot far back onto your mat, and we open up to the side into goddess pose. In goddess pose, we have a wide stance with our toes pointing diagonally away from our torso. You want to keep a generous bend through the knees, and you can even lift the arms with bent elbows and the fingertips pointing towards the ceiling. In our goddess pose, we're going to sink a little bit deeper and begin to pulse. These gentle pulses up and down, feeling the engagement through the thigh muscles here, especially the quadricep muscles. I know mine, I can really feel at this moment in time. Sink a little deeper, continue on with those pulses. Maybe you might feel it in the glutes a little bit here. Do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open up to the side for warrior two. Again, that back foot is parallel to the back edge of the mat. The left foot is pointing towards the front edge of the mat. Arms are in a T, and the gaze can be over the front fingertips. Cartwheel the hands down, again framing that left foot. Step the left foot back to meet the right in a high plank. Instead of going directly into our vinyasa here, we're going to take 5 chaturangas. Exhale to lower down halfway. Inhale to lift back up. Exhale, lowering down, elbows coming back. Inhale to lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. This last one, exhale, lower. On the inhale, we come through to upward facing dog. It's really hard to teach through all of those push-ups. Exhale, tuck the toes. Send the hips up and back, downward facing dog. You can bend through the knees, step or hop the feet to meet the hands in a forward fold. Inhale to lift halfway, hands to shins. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up, overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, the hands come through the heart center in Anjane Mudra. We're going to do the same sequence on the opposite side. So coming back into Vrikshasana, or tree pose. You can begin to transition your weight into your right foot. Finding a tree pose variation that feels good for you. The hands can stay at heart center, or you can grow your tree branches in any way that might feel beneficial for you today. A little stability tip here, it helps to find a non-moving point to fix your gaze on. Inhale, the hands come through, back to heart center. The left knee comes to face the front of the mat, and sweep the left leg back behind you, keeping it lifted any amount for warrior three. Hands can stay at heart center, or to challenge yourself further, you can reach the arms out overhead. Bending through the right knee, you can step the left foot far back on the mat, opening up to the side for goddess pose. You can stay where you are. I'm just coming back to face the camera. Coming back into our goddess pose, again, it's a wide stance with the toes pointing diagonally away from the torso. You can bend generously through the knees and lift the arms to where the elbows are bent and the fingertips point towards the ceiling. Begin to do up and down motions, very light motions. Maybe you smile a little bit, come a little bit deeper, continuing through the pulses. Do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Staying low, and begin to open up back towards our warrior two. The feet are perpendicular, forming a T formation with one another. The arms are in a T, and the front leg stays bent. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot. Step the right foot back to meet the left. Coming back into our 5 chaturanga push-up variations. Exhaling to lower down halfway. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. This time we exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, come all the way through to upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes. The hips come up and back to downward facing dog. Again, just taking this moment to catch up with our breathing. Sending our bodies gratitude for allowing us to get through this practice today. On the inhale, the right knee can come onto the mat right behind that right wrist. You can begin to walk the left leg further back behind you as we prepare for pigeon pose. Here's where that prop may be coming handy for you today. You can place that blanket or pillow underneath your right hip if you're feeling like your hip is too far off of the floor to where you can be in a comfortable position. Here in pigeon, you can use the option of staying on the fingertips with the upper body lifted, or you can begin to walk your torso towards the floor. Maybe you come onto the forearms, or you could even lower the forehead down onto the mat, finding a pigeon pose variation that feels good for you. This is a great opportunity to really ground down, feeling the sensations of the legs pressing into your mat, the sensations of the hips opening, and even noticing the sensations of the breath beginning to regulate itself as we're not doing goddess pose pulses anymore. Again, maybe the corners of your mouth lift slightly into a little smile. You can begin to lift yourself back up slowly onto the fingertips if you weren't there already. You can move any prop that you may have out from underneath that right hip. You can tuck the toes underneath. Using the hands, begin to press yourself back up into our downward facing dog. This time you can bend through the left knee, bringing the left knee to rest onto the mat right behind the left wrist. You can walk that right leg further back on your mat for pigeon, and again using that pillow or blanket to rest underneath the left hip for a bit of added cushion and support here. Once again, you can stay on the fingertips, or you can begin to lower your forearms down to the mat, and you could even rest your forehead down on the mat if that would be what supports your body and your practice best today. Remember to breathe, slowing down the breath. On the inhale, begin to rise back up onto the hands and the fingertips, moving any props out from underneath that left hip. And you can begin to sit your weight onto the left hip, coming around to sit on our bottoms as we come into boat pose or Navasana. You can find a variation that feels good for you. You could keep the feet or the hands on the ground for support, or you could take the traditional variation of the toes pointing away from the chest and the arms out in a presentation-like manner of the legs. We're going to lower down slowly on a count of 5, bringing our backs onto the mat. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Letting yourself go. If you were like me, you probably shook the whole way that you lowered down onto the mat. You can begin to straighten through the legs with the feet pointing up towards the ceiling. It doesn't matter whether you have the feet flexed or pointed, whatever feels best for you. We're going to do a bit of an abdominal muscle sequence here. We're going to be lifting up slightly, trying to reach opposite hand to opposite foot. For example, I'll be lifting my right hand to my left foot, coming back down, left hand to my right foot, coming back down. And we'll just be doing that for a few times, back and forth. Exhale to lift, inhale, lower. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Pretend as if you're reaching for something that you really want in your life. Maybe it's something you want in your job or your education, something you really want to be, or something you really want to feel. Now's your time to let the things that you really want to fuel your practice. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. 3, 2, and 1. Begin to lower the feet down onto the mat. We come into Supta Baddha Konasana, which is butterfly pose, but resting on the back so the soles of the feet can be resting in towards one another. Knees and the hips splay out to the sides. And maybe it would feel good to rest the hands on the low belly. Feeling any tightness or heat that lingers here from that quick ab exercise we just partook in. Begin to bring the knees to point back up to the ceiling. The feet can be planted on the floor, maybe a little bit further apart, a little bit wider apart than hip distance as we prep for bridge pose. If it would feel okay, you can begin to walk the shoulder blades underneath the spine. And inhale, begin to lift your hip points up towards the ceiling. You're welcome to clasp your hands behind your back with the arms long in our bridge pose. If you're looking for a bit of an added challenge, you're welcome to shift your weight into your left foot, beginning to bring your right foot directly out in this long diagonal with the body. Again, once more, feeling heat being generated in the quad. And if you want an extra challenge, you're welcome to come onto the ball of the left foot, which really generates an added heat in the calf muscle. Feeling any shakes here? Remember to breathe. And more importantly, remember to smile. Stay here for 5, 4, 3, stay strong, you can do it. 2, and 1. Lower back down onto your mat. You can windshield wiper the knees over to the right side, and then the knees over to the left side. Just releasing through the muscles of the low back here. Preparing for our second and last bridge pose of the practice. Again, the knees are bent, feet are planted on the floor, a little bit further apart than hip distance. If that is what feels good for you, that's a little bit of a personal preference of mine. You can begin to walk the shoulder blades underneath the spine. Inhale, lift the hip points up towards the ceiling, coming into our bridge. The hands can clasp under the back, arms stay long on the mat, and begin to transition your weight into the right foot this time. Bringing the left leg out in this long diagonal, engaging through the quads, the glutes, and the abs, keeping you lifted and strong. Again, if you want that added challenge, coming onto the ball of the right foot, creating even more engagement through the calf muscle of the right leg. Stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Begin to lower down. The knees can come into the chest. The arms reach out to the sides in a T formation. Send the knees over to the right side, coming into a spinal twist. If you want, you could even send the gaze over towards the left fingertips. Truly slowing down the breath here, as we don't have any more secret added challenges in our practice here today. Inhale the knees back through center, and exhale the knees over to the left side. You can send the gaze towards the right fingertips. Slowing down the breath. Inhale the knees, come back through center. Staying bent through the knees, you can send the feet up towards the ceiling. As we come into happy baby pose, you can grab the hands to the outside edges of the feet, pressing the feet down so that the knees come in towards the armpits. You could even rock a bit back and forth here, creating a little massage through the spine and the back muscles. We'll prepare now for our final resting pose of the practice, Shavasana. As always, I offer the position of the knees bent, the feet wide on the floor, the knees resting in towards one another, especially if you have a bit of lower back pain. Or if you wish, you can send the legs out long, away from the head. You could even walk the shoulder blades in towards one another, under the spine, creating this external rotation of the arm bones, allowing the palms to face up towards the ceiling, and creates an openness in the chest. Begin to close your eyes if you haven't done so already. Bring the awareness back to your breath and observe how your breathing might feel different or might feel similar to how it felt at the beginning of our practice. Not changing anything, just observing. Observing any lingering feelings that arise throughout the body. Any vibrations, any tightness. Don't worry about changing the breath. Don't worry about changing any feelings in the body unless they're very uncomfortable for you today, of course. If it's uncomfortable for you, you can change the way that you're seated. But I invite you to sit with your breath and sit with these bodily sensations that remind you that you're alive. I'll guide you out of Shavasana when it's time. If you need more time in Shavasana, you're welcome to pause this video and return to this when you feel more ready. But if you are ready to awaken through the body, you're welcome to wiggle through the fingers, wiggle through the toes, letting your movements grow larger, twisting the wrists and the ankles, reaching the arms up and overhead for a beautiful good morning stretch. If you're doing this in the morning, I'm obviously not sure when you're doing it, but you can bring the knees into the chest, wrapping the arms around the outsides of the shins, and gently begin to rock and roll yourself up to a seated position. And we'll meet back in Sukhasana, where we began our practice. Finding a comfortable seat for you to seal out your practice. We'll take 2 deep inhales and deep exhales together to finish this out today. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale audibly, letting it all go. Inhale, the biggest one you've taken all day. Biggest exhale. Squeezing all that air out of the lungs. Thank you for joining me for my 3rd Gratitude with Grace practice. I hope that you were able to find a bit of heat today throughout your entire body. And I hope that focusing on the breath, the heat, and all the feelings in the body in between can help you to just feel more gratitude towards this beautiful thing of being alive that we shouldn't ever take for granted. So thank you for attending this practice with me today, and please remember to donate if you are in a situation where you're able to do so. Thank you all.